And diversity is kind of one of the topics of today anyway. We are talking about radical inclusivity of this mutual sense of vulnerability, of giving and receiving is foundational to the human tribe. And one of the things we have talked about progressively more and more in the last 20, 30 years has been this idea of inclusiveness. And so there's a certain sense of humility that each of us needs when we're actually talking about accepting another. That we can accept another from a superior point of view, taking that which we like and tolerating that which we don't like. Or we can come to a deeper understanding that essentially we are part of the same tribe they are. That in essence, this sense of alienation or being a foreigner is a temporary event when you're in an unusual place. But it's also our personal experience as well. And if we can incorporate this sense of vulnerability into this understanding of accepting others, I think we then come at it with the proper mindset. In which when we see someone who has differences of any type, whether they be political or racial or nation of origin or ability or whatever, when we see them having differences, we also should allow that to remind us of our own differences, of how we are perhaps uniquely challenged in our own way, how not everything is working for us, and how indeed we are the same as they. Not different so much as the same. And so inclusion is merely recognizing the commonality rather than focusing on the difference. But essentially this job of inclusion is one of the heart, in which we diminish our sense of separateness and find that our heart is connected to their being as well. That our heart and their existence are joined in some way. And while the mind may be very good at finding distinctions that separate, the heart has less trouble finding a way to connect. And so much of what building a radical world of inclusiveness is staying in the heart, realizing our own vulnerability. So if we can stay in the heart, we can recognize the suffering of others, but also their beauty, their commonality, and our oneness. That we all have a shadow. And the shadow comes about for each and every person more or less the same way. There are parts of us that we do not find acceptable in public company, and so we dissociate from it, and we repress it, and we send it over there long enough that we deny we have it. Then it's easier to make a story about who you are, and in making that story about who you are, you begin to forget who you also are. And so shadow work, or reclaiming part of your personality, your potential, is about looking over here. It doesn't mean you're bad because you have that, because everybody else does too. If you want to be able to stay open to the world as it is, and means that you have to stay open to you as you are as well. To be able to love yourself as a total being, not simply the light worker, but also the shadow side. And an easy way to do that is to catch yourself judging someone else. So as you greet your judgment of another with a sense of humility, You go, I wonder what this is saying about me. I wonder what part of me is so like that that I have denied that I feel I need to judge. Or on the other hand, if I see someone who is absolutely captures my imagination, who goes like, I must be with this person, or my God, they are great. Aren't they heroic in some way? Perhaps inside of you is the exact same hero, or beauty, or wondrous mind that you have denied. And so coming to know your shadow side, practicing this art, will give you a greater sense of confidence when you're among people. You'll be far less likely to strike out or to say something you would embarrass yourself. You'll have a greater sense of self-acceptance and love. You'll find that you recognize you are more creative because you're now using more of yourself. There are many benefits for this process. And if we wish to be radically inclusive, then I think what we really need to do is open to the rest of the world by opening to ourselves. And let that be the process that brings us into a state of humility, but with confidence, with kindness to ourselves that we can now share with other people. And if we're afraid of what's inside of there, I think we'll share that fear when we see another. So this process is equally balanced. What we heal on the inside, we can begin to heal on the outside.